Good evening and welcome to Arizona Illustrated for Thursday, the 5th of July, 2012. The Tucson Basin has been inhabited for thousands of years, and for most of this time period, humans flourished here by adapting to the natural conditions. Now, a new camp in Pima County is seeking to give children an understanding of the ancient settlers who were known as the Hohokam. Luis Carrion has that story.
An ancient people known as the Hohokam once inhabited regions throughout Arizona. The culture developed by the Hohokam was uniquely adapted to this environment. Communities flourished in the Tucson Basin, where they adapted themselves to the desert environment by farming along drainages and hunting and gathering in the desert and the mountains.
The Hohokam lived in this area about 1240 to 1250 AD. You're going to be drawing a picture of the rabbit.
Steve Russell is an environmental educator with the Pima County Natural Resources Parks and Recreation Center. He's also the director of the Dig It Prehistoric People Archaeology Camp.
Put your hat on. Everybody got your binoculars, water bottle. At this archaeology camp, we put the kids into the roles of being a Hohokam Native American. What about this little stuff right here? Is that good for anything?
Russell says this camp takes place at and near Agua Caliente Park, a place where early inhabitants found an abundant source of water.
Yeah, what could we do with turtles? And the first day, we're exploring the park, looking at resources both in the desert and around the aquatic and riparian habitats, looking for resources that they would use to survive. If they were here living, say, 800 years ago when the Hohokam lived in this area, or what could they be made into? Baskets? Baskets, yes. Willow is an excellent basket material.
This week we're going to be working with about 10 kids on this archaeology camp.
Co-instructor Axel Munoz also works with the kids. He helps teach them how early inhabitants were able to make use of many of the natural resources of this area.
It's like what they were shaping their arrows. They're going to be thinking of the resources that are nearby, the plants of the animals, and the environment itself, whether it's hot and sunny or shady, and how can you make it in a place like this without having Safeway, without air conditioning, without fossil fuels. How do you make it in a place like this?
Indeed, how did the Hohokam make it in a place like this? This question is explored throughout this week-long camp, which includes a visit to the Whiptail Ruin, an ancient Hohokam site located near the Agua Caliente water source.
I found three pieces and mapped it down.
We are very fortunate that here at this park and very nearby on private property, there is a Hohokam village.
And they couldn't just go to the supermarket.
Part of the camp experience will be for those students to go over to the Whiptail site. It's named after the Whiptail lizards that we're seeing all over the place here. And we're going to be looking at some artifacts that were recovered. We're going to be looking at some foundations of pit houses. And we've set up a small grid where the students are going to get some first-hand experience that an archaeologist would have working in southern Arizona in the summer, in the middle of heat, digging. Yeah, there you go. Good job.
Campers spend the week exploring how life might have been had they grown up in a Hohokam village, and deepening their understanding of ancient people, their place, and their time.
I found the arrow point.
It's fun.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
Ellie Greenwood and Molly Hughes say making new friends is part of the fun here. And they paired up to figure out how desert dwellers utilize stones they found in the environment.
Yeah, we're both doing rocks, and what I'm doing is like how to make a fire. So if you didn't know, you could know how to do it.
So you have to pick some kind of a rock, and you have to draw a picture of it and describe how the Hohokam people used that kind of rock. And so they used it to make like arrowheads and stuff, so you have to describe that and draw what the things were. So
Jensen Payton worked with another team to determine how animals were used by the Hohokam.
On my cards I'm doing a deer, and I wrote down a lot of stuff that you can do with the deer. Like the skin, you can make like a coat out of it, the antlers you could do stuff with. It also can eat the meat.
And if you were a ho'okam, this would be a good place to hang out.
Participants at the Dig-It camp learned that life was quite different for early inhabitants. And, although many of the conveniences of modern life were not available, the area provided everything needed for the hohokam to thrive.
A lot of children are kind of disconnected from nature. They don't really understand that nature provides us everything we need to survive. Our number one goal is just to get the children outdoors. If they learn something while they're outdoors, that's a plus. But just getting them outdoors, letting them know that in general, nature is benevolent and something that they should learn to appreciate, and the more they know about it, the more they appreciate it.
The area that comprises present downtown Tucson has been inhabited for thousands of years, and now it is experiencing a new wave of activity and settlement that is welcomed by many of its supporters in southern Arizona. Tonight, we will tell you about a group of people that are using science as part of the growing scene in the area. Meghan, Cassidy, and Rob Zellem are graduate students at the University of Arizona and interim co-directors of Science Downtown. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So what is Science Downtown, Meghan?
Science Downtown is a small museum located in the heart of Tucson, right next to the Rialto, so it's a prime location. And it features the College of Science here. It features all the research that's been going on here and is kind of a portal for science to the rest of the Tucson community.
And Rob, what are you trying to do with this establishment in downtown Tucson? What's your goal, your mission?
Our goal is to sort of have a public outreach to all the wonderful science opportunities that are going on, not only at the University of Arizona through departments such as the Lunar and Planetary Lab, which Meghan and I both study at, but also the general Tucson area. For this Family Day that we'll be having on July 7th, we're going to have other groups come in, like the Tucson Amateur Astronomy Association, Pima Air and Space Museum, and sort of make science fun and interactive for the entire family.
All right, so this Saturday, July 7th, tell me a little bit about the times and what's going to be happening, Meghan.
All right, we're having a family day at Science Downtown. It's this Saturday, July 7th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're going to have lots of hands-on activities for kids. They can paint planets, they can make their own pet rock, they can make an impact crater. We're going to have popsicles, we're going to have solar telescopes, solar fountains and cars. So there's a lot for everyone to do, and we'll have some presentations as well.
Okay, and Rob, both of you obviously hope to become scientists at some point in your lives. Why do you think this is something really nice for the family to get involved in?
It's just a fun day to sort of learn more about science. As a kid, and I'm sure many kids have the same thing, where they're just generally inquisitive about the world, like why is the sky blue, how does gravity work, that sort of thing. And Science Downtown has this unique opportunity to make science and fun for the entire family and sort of answer all those questions. So I'm hoping to get out of it, sort of express my love for science and sort of transition and to sort of impart that on other people too.
And we were talking, Meghan, about how this is sort of part of the growing movement in downtown Tucson. How are you trying to get more people into this area? Why do you think that's an important aspect of it as well?
I think that it would be great to have a downtown in Tucson. I think a lot of people don't know that there's a lot to do down there. There's a lot of restaurants, there's bars, there's the Children's Museum, there's the Rialto. And so by having a science museum downtown as well, you can make a whole day for families and local Tucsonians to really enjoy their city.
I'm sorry. So, Rob, this is an actual building at the moment. Where is it located, and what happens next with the property, the physical property itself?
It's right next to the Rialto and downtown at the corner of Congress and 5th. There's a parking garage right across the street. There's tons of parking in the area. It's really, really simple and easy to get to. With the building right now, we're hoping to sort of show that Tucson can sort of get behind and support a science museum, and then hopefully in the fall we'll be opening more full-time. Right now we've been sort of shut down for regular business hours due to the streetcar construction, but with the streetcar construction and all this recent revitalization in downtown, we think that the Science Museum, Science Downtown, can actually be a really nice foothold inside downtown and sort of develop an awesome downtown that Tucson could have.
All right, so this is not typically open on a day-to-day basis, but it will be open on Saturday, as we said, right?
Yes, it will also be open the following Saturday for second Saturdays downtown, along with all the other shops that are open.
Okay, and then Rob, you also have plans for August. What's happening in August?
In the first weekend of August, the Mars Science Laboratory, also known as Curiosity, will be landing on Mars, and we're going to have this landing party. We're going to have some LPL scientists who've worked on previous Mars missions, like on Phoenix and on HiRISE, and they'll be coming in to give some lectures. We'll also have other interactive activities, so it's just fun for the entire family and sort of answer your questions about Mars.
Okay, and then this Saturday there is an admission fee. What is that, just so that our audience knows?
All right, it's $9 for adults, $5 for children, and $7 for students, military, and seniors.
And Rob, do you think that it's important that parents take their kids and show them that science, quote, can be fun and it's not just something they read about?
Oh yeah. As a kid, my parents always made sure to take me to the local science museum and sort of show me how interesting it could be, because even if you don't end up in a field such as science, it's good to sort of nurture this this questioning that I think that's just sort of innate in even everyone, not only kids. So it's sort of a good way to sort of develop this questioning, to question the world around you, how does it work, and sort of learn about it. It's just it's a really good opportunity, yeah.
Okay, Meghan Cassidy and Rob Zellem, Interim Co-Directors of Science Downtown. Thank you very much and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
All
much.
right. Many people say they would like to be more environmentally friendly and incorporate conservation measures at home, but they are concerned about the initial investments that are often required to get started. The Tucson Water Department says it is listening to these sentiments and taking action. The department is starting a rebate program that could give back as much as $2,000 to residential customers who are willing to commit to harvesting rainwater. Here's Mark McLemore to tell us more about it.
And now to tell us more about this incentive program and how it works, we have Fernando Molina. He's from Tucson Water. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Mark.
And Lincoln Perino, who is an expert on rainwater harvesting systems and has taught at some of the workshops that Tucson Water will be sponsoring as part of this program.
Yeah. Hi, Mark.
Hi there. So let's talk about the incentive program and how someone can qualify. What is the goal of the rainwater harvesting project?
Well, the goal of this program is really to educate as many of our customers and people in the Tucson region about water harvesting, the practices and techniques that are available, and some of the opportunities that we have through our rebate program.
And the rebate program is eligible to single-family homes in the Tucson area who agree to do what?
Correct, Mark. This is a program for Tucson Water customers, and it's for single-family residences. And so what we are looking for our customers to do, and for those that want to go beyond just the training program and participate in the rebate program, is to have them install permanent rainwater harvesting systems. So it's really easy to just kind of throw something up there and catch a little bit of water, but if you don't design it right, it won't last real long. So we want to make sure it's lasting a long time. To assist with that, we're also requiring that they participate in a workshop, and that's the educational component of this. So in order to make sure that they're putting in a permanent system and one that will be long-lasting, they have to participate in the workshop. And one of the items that they walk away from with this workshop is a site plan, which is one of the submittals that they need to have along with the application form.
And if they're accepted into the program and they make these changes to their landscaping to provide for rainwater harvesting, what kind of a rebate can they expect?
Well, there's two levels of rebate. The first level is for what I just call is somebody that just wants to do something. And so this could be something as simple as putting up a gutter to capture a little bit of water and direct it off to a plant, maybe into a rain barrel. Very simple system. That rebate will cover the cost of materials, qualifying materials and labor up to $300 maximum. The second tier of rebate that's available requires a little bit more work, a little bit more thought. And this is because with this rebate, you do have to submit some calculations showing how much water you are capable of capturing, number one, and number two, what your demand is for that water that you're capturing and how you'll be using that water. So all in all, what we really want to see is an increase in the quality of life. We want to see better landscapes out there, more lusher landscapes, and perhaps some people are even interested in food production. So we just want to see all that move forward.
Well, Lincoln, let me ask you, as an instructor at these programs, what sort of additions are you helping people to think about beyond just putting a rain barrel out?
Well, you know, part of what we're doing is we're trying to encourage them to rethink their landscape in general, to look at where their water's going, what type of plants they have, and how much water they're putting out. And so all of that gets encompassed into the greater plan. So we're talking about landscape and how to depress the land so the water goes where you want, as well as how to do tanks and cisterns to have bigger systems.
What are some people's major concerns when they come into a program like this?
I think that there's not a lot of knowledge coming into it. You know, people don't have a lot of background, and even if you look online, there's not a lot of really good resources to do it yourself. So I think that and then the cost associated with it have really been barriers for people in the past. This incentive is really valuable in that there's an education aspect as well as a substantial amount of money to back the program.
Would having a rainwater tank set up be the most expensive or most complicated option on this series of developments?
Yeah, typically, the landscape can be done pretty easily, and depending on what you have, the cost is low. But cisterns take a little bit more planning. You have to think about where they're going to be, and they're more of a long-term investment. And so, I would definitely say that that's the case.
Well, what kind of response have you heard from people in the community who have implemented these changes?
It's actually really interesting. People start valuing their water quite a bit more. They think about where their water's going, and their cistern water becomes really valuable. So you'll see people get a lot more frugal with how they use their water. And then they see that in the community. People have told me, oh, I noticed this at this building, or I started to see landscapes that were different, and they reanalyze everything that they're looking at.
Well, Fernando, this is a new program, but tell us what the response from the community has been so far.
Oh, the response has been wonderful. It's we originally started this with 3 workshops already scheduled. Those filled up immediately. We added another 7, so now we have 10. Those are booked completely through the end of the year. And so we're working right now to try and put together other locations where we can offer the workshop. Another thing is that we also are accepting workshops or participation in workshops from other organizations. And so folks can go to our website to find out which are the qualifying workshops.
So you advise the website is the first place to go if you're interested in getting involved in the
program? Sure. We have all the information that they need to know about the program, the policies, the workshops, the locations, which ones are qualifying. So we've got a lot of information in there. The program's new. We're adding information, so we'll still be growing that page.
Well, according to the statistic here on the front of the flyer, 40% of Tucson's water use is outdoor water use. So I guess this program is just attempting to make sure that that water is put to good use.
Right. And, Tucson Water spends a lot of time looking at alternative water supplies. And so we think it's appropriate to ask our customers to do the same thing. And rainfall is an alternative water supply that everybody has available to them. And it just, with a little bit of work, you can actually put it to good use and make our landscapes look better.
Well, thanks so much for your time and sharing this information with us.
Now we'll tell you about the Watershed Management Group. It's a nonprofit organization that is cooperating with local residents who are trying to make a difference one project at a time. Most people who move into a recently purchased house soon begin a series of cosmetic projects to provide a personal touch and comfort. But for Eric Meghan and his wife, the transformation of their Midtown Tucson home is about much more than appearances and decor. They are part of a grassroots movement that is trying to work with the environment and preserve resources, and it's an effort that is gaining ground throughout the city. The couple is harvesting rainwater, building swales to collect precipitation for their native plants, and incorporating other measures for sustainability. One will reuse the water from their washing machine to help them grow a citrus tree.
That'll help provide us with fruit, the oranges we love, and it also will help shade this side of the building that gets very hot. So everything serves a number of purposes here.
And while digging in the yard, they discovered they had a swimming pool in their 1950s ranch-style home. But instead of trying to restore it and using water there, they'll be turning the area into a garden where they can grow some vegetables with some of the rainfall that they collect.
In the long run, for us to survive, I think, in the desert as a culture for a number of generations more, I think we need to do more of this as well.
We have all this gravel left over from clearing, which will go back on the ground.
Meghan found out about some of their outdoor options by getting in touch with the Watershed Management Group. It's a nonprofit organization that operates several programs on these topics. James Darosel is a local landscape architect who also works with the Watershed Management Group as a project manager, providing valuable guidance to homeowners like Eric.
That way the water's running where it's needed rather than just off the hardscape and into the sewer. So the work at this residence was done as part of our co-op program, which is a sweat equity program whereby if you volunteer at someone's house to help install sustainable practices, then you can get discounted services from design and consulting, and you get the co-op come to your house to install similar practices.
And the organization works on much larger projects as well, such as this one outside of South Point Catholic High School in Midtown Tucson. If you walk or drive in this area, you'll notice a group of trees and other vegetation that is sprouting up in the neighborhood. adding a visual oasis where asphalt used to be the dominant feature along this stretch of the street. The rows of plants are next to a plentiful source of water whenever it rains, so a bit of the runoff is being collected by a simple but creative system that takes in the resource before it all flows downhill. Interspersed curb cores redirect the water into basins. The project was the idea of neighborhood resident and activist Henry Jacobson, a retired civil engineer who provided inspiration and knowledge. He was instrumental in getting everyone on board to turn a plan into action, a partnership of several entities working on a common goal.
So what we're doing is we're providing an opportunity for some urban forestry, for catchment of rainwater and infiltration into the water table. And it's very basic and very effective.
It's the world the kids that we're educating today are going to live in, so it's a great lesson to where our science department hopefully comes out here with their science and starts to look at these type of applications to use street runoff water to irrigate green infrastructure.
To get involved, to do this in your own neighborhood, it's very simple. All of our workshops are free and open to the public. Come and learn. We have resources available on our website that are free to download, videos to watch. The idea is enabling the community to put these practices in. We can't do this solely alone, but we can do it through the community taking action. And so what we're trying to provide is that educational opportunity for them to replicate and innovate in their own neighborhoods, in their own streets, in their own properties.
It's my area, and certainly I enjoy that, but likewise I would take satisfaction in helping others as well, and providing this type of infrastructure in the central part of Tucson.
And that's what Eric Meghan is doing on a smaller scale back at his house, but he says it's just part of the bigger picture. He and his wife are poets and both love nature, so this fits right in with their philosophy. A natural balance, he says, that provides symbiosis with human assistance and satisfaction.
For one, it's fun. We enjoy it, and I kind of think of it as the same way that I think about when I'm out hiking or looking at the ecology of the desert, or out working with the Poetry Center, looking at a poem. That it's kind of a practice of close attention to the details and how everything works together.
Soon, he says, it'll be time to help others while the couple enjoys the fruit of their labor in their mini oasis. Joining us next is Damian Klinko with his weekly segment. It focuses on some of the interesting places in our region that provide historical or architectural information about our culture and ancestors. Klinko is the president of the Tucson Historic Preservation Foundation.
The ornate Spanish Revival Pima County Courthouse is an icon of southern Arizona region and a Tucson landmark. Designed by architect Roy Place and constructed by general contractor Herbert F. Brown in 1929, this building was the third county courthouse, replacing the structurally compromised and cracking second courthouse, which had been built on the archaeological site of the Tucson Presidio. The new courthouse was part of the popular Spanish eclectic revival movement that was influencing many of Tucson's residential and commercial designs in the 1920s. The scale, ornamental details, and plan combined to create a picture postcard image for Tucson. Newspapers at the time called the $300,000 building the most attractive, unique, and picturesque courthouse in all the Southwest. Constructed on a north-south axis in reinforced concrete and plastered in pink stucco, the central wing is 3 stories tall, flanked by 2-story north and south wings. The defining details of the building are ornamental cast stone, operable steel casement windows, and red barrel mission tile. The east courtyard included a fountain and formal landscape. The pink walls of hand-applied plaster, arcades of columns, massive portico breezeway, and large tiled dome with a zigzag Art Deco design combine to embody a 1920s identity and announce a prosperous future for the county. The dome is 23 feet in diameter and adorned in colorful glazed vibrant shades of blue, yellow, and green. Fred Fisher was one of the 2 craftsmen responsible for laying the tile. The building housed the bulk of Pima County's departments, including the Board of Supervisors, the County Treasurer, Sheriff, Recorder's Office, Assessor's Office, the Superior Court, and a holding cell for prisoners awaiting trial. The building is the architect's true masterwork. Design details thoughtfully acknowledge the apex of architectural tradition, details that symbolically connect the building to the peak of the Italian Renaissance. The inclusion of decorative pea pods in the cast ornamental stone of the portico is certainly a nod to the carved pea pods of Brunelleschi's marble lantern atop the Duomo in Florence, Italy. The visual allegory of the pea pod connects the building to the agrarian landscape. The bucolic symbolism ties the grand architecture of the courthouse to the natural wealth of the Arizona landscape and to the heights of human artistry. Florence is also suggested by the simple shields seen on the castings incorporated into the Court Street balconies, simplified versions of the Medici family crest. In 1955, a $500,000 addition expanded the south facade of the building. In 1975, the county constructed the 9-story new courthouse to the south at a cost of $10.5 million. In 1978, the courthouse was listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Today, the building is home to active courtrooms as well as the county recorder and county assessor. Pima County stewardship has maintained this architectural masterpiece, one of Tucson's icons, to be as vivid today as it was when it was constructed.
You can get more news and information on our website, azpm.org. To comment on any story you saw tonight, click on it online and go to the bottom. We can also be reached via Facebook and Twitter. Coming up tomorrow night on the Arizona Illustrated Political Roundtable with Jim Ninsel, we'll hear from the Pima County leaders of the Democratic and Republican parties and address some of the major campaigns that are presently underway. Republicans have a primary in the U.S. Senate race to replace retiring Senator John Kyle, and newly elected Democratic Congressman Ron Barber also faces a challenger in a new election. All this and more tomorrow night on the Political Roundtable at 6:30. I'm Tony Paniagua. From all of us at Arizona Public Media, have a great night.